Hey everyone, Matron here, bringing you another StarCraft 2 commentary, this time Game 3 of the clan war between Root Gaming and Fnatic Gaming. KiwiKaki able to even up the series one game apiece. If you haven't checked out the first two games, make sure you watch them on Matron StarCraft, youtube.com, so that you're all caught up on the series. As we get underway here, Game 3 will be KiwiKaki spawning as the orange Protoss, and his opponent will be Kawe Rice spawning as the yellow Terran. We're on cross positions on Metalopolis here. So one or both players, once they do scout, may attempt to get down a fast expand. Pretty difficult on this map with these positions to pressure your opponent in the early game, just such a long distance between the two bases. Kiwi winning a PvP in Game 2 against TT1, both players attempting pretty similar builds. Kiwi had an extra gateway, and he was just able to out-micro his opponent. So as I mentioned in that game, Kiwi always creative builds and great micro and macro alike. Very impressive player, but Kawe Rice, an impressive Terran player of his own right, gonna try to stop the winning streak of KiwiKaki, or at least prevent the winning streak, and put Fnatic up 2-1 here. Kiwi hoping to knock off a second straight player and go up 2-1 for Root Gaming. So it looks like Kiwi first pylon going to be towards the left side of the base, so maybe trying to hide some tech here or building everything close to home, deny some pathing around the mineral line, making sure that no Hellion harass can come in. Kawe walling off at the front, so sometimes we do not see this against Protoss or other Terrans, definitely against Zerg, but can sometimes slow the movement of your troops in the early game, but you can pick up that barracks and really open up that ramp as the late game progresses. Do see Kiwi getting down an assimilator, and it looks like Kawe Rice also about to finish his as well. So both players just opening up pretty standard here, and not yet sending out a scout. So Kiwi, very interesting, did not scout after the pylon or after the gateway. So a second pylon coming down, making sure he has constant production out of the Nexus, doing a good job in the early game, never supply blocking himself. We saw TT1 supply gapping himself a little bit in that first game. And a Cybernetics core going down for Kiwi, and he also has his first Zealot on the way, heading towards this ramp, so perhaps going to be denying the scout of Kawe Rice. SCV on its way, check the western base first, wants to make sure that they are not at close positions, and now making his way over to the base of Root KiwiKaki, and Kiwi going to have at least one Zealot out here to meet him, but the SCV a little bit faster than that Zealot, could perhaps get by. Kiwi going to try to do a good job to micro and deny the scout here, bringing a probe as well, perhaps to block a little bit or scout on his own, and Kiwi able to take down that SCV scout. So Kawe not able to see anything that KiwiKaki is building at this point. Kiwi building all of his buildings on the left side of his base. Even if that SCV did make it up here, if it went down in a shot or two more from that Zealot, it would not have been able to see any of these structures. So it looks like Kiwi's probe heading east first and now to the north. So these two units of Kawe Rice may be able to intercept this probe, as they do see it with this watchtower. They does not have concussive shell done yet, so the probe going to be a little bit faster. As concussive shell almost finished, this Marauder may be able to slow down this probe and deny the scout of Kiwi as well. So neither player getting a good scout on their opponent. So both builds, we see 2 racks for Kawe. We see a looks like the Protoss version of the 1-1-1 build here, of a gateway into cybernetics and then immediately robotics. And Kiwi's going to be able to get out some early observers, perhaps get a spot on these 2 racks. The racks with a reactor and a tech lab, concussive shell all the way complete right now, so very good against early Protoss units, able to slow down those Zealots, and then the Marauders also quite good against those armored stalkers. We do see the robotics facility completing, and immediately an observer on the way for KiwiKaki, saving up a bit of chrono boost as well. So I wonder what he will be chrono boosting. Now it looks like he is spending it on some more economy, and it looks like Kawe hiding an SCV down here, perhaps to shoot up that ramp, see what kind of army his opponent has as this game does progress here. Keeping all of his units out in front of the base here, that way they do not get caught up around the supply depots and the barracks. Looks like the SCV going to be poking up here, trying to get some more information, and we'll see what he's able to see here. It looks like he did not see anything besides a pylon, so he does know his opponent has at least a pylon in his base right now, but Kiwi could have anything else. He does have an observer moving across the field, so we'll be able to get a good gauge on the size of the army for Kawe right now. If we check the army tab, it is 850 to 625, and he's going to be able to come in here. He's going to see this barracks, and also going to be able to see this command center as well. Kiwi had already been creating an expansion of his own, so you're going to be plenty prepared and not going to be too worried about his opponent fast expanding here. See another racks and factory being added for Kawe Rice, making his way across the field here. Again, very long distance between these two players, and coming down here with some units. Kiwi does not have a very large army. Going to allow this Nexus to tank a little bit as he warps in more and more units. We check the production tab. He is not warping in anything off the robotics facility right now, so he could be getting out an Immortal to try to take down those early Marauders. But it looks like Kawe thinking better of attacking, pulling back there, doing a little bit of shield damage on that Nexus. Kiwi with a perfectly timed, actually maybe a little bit early there on that transfer, but getting a good transfer. If we check the income tab, 28 Harvesters to 32. So both players pretty even here, and Kawe going to have the advantage with those mules, creating a second orbital command here. Looking back at the production, it looks like we do have a robotics bay on the way for Kiwi. So you're going to be transitioning immediately to Colossus, still running off 2 gates. Very interesting, just 2 production structures. Sometimes this does not work out for Protoss. They're not able to match the production of a Terran, as they are macroing hard off multiple barracks with reactors. But Kawe doing Kiwi a little bit of a favor there, pulling back into more of a defensive position, and actually throwing up a bunker, perhaps feeling like some pressure could be coming from Kiwi, some sort of gateway push here. But Kiwi will be waiting for those Colossus, immediately chronoing out the extended thermal lance, and should be getting out his first Colossus here as well. See a good pylon placement for Kiwi at the northern edge of his base. He's going to be able to warp in units to reinforce any attacking army very quickly. He's also going to be able to see any movement along this southern road, as Kawe Rice now pushing out with a decent sized army, 17 now 1850 compared to the 1275 of Kiwikaki, and his first Colossus not yet complete. It should be complete by the time this army does come over here. Looks like a lot of Marines and Marauders, and I believe a dropship coming over here as well. So Kiwi attempting to now add a few more gateways. If we check the spending of both players staying very low, almost below 100 minerals at all times. Kawe looks like he's going to be loading up, preparing for a drop. So coming down here, the medevac will be able to give him sight on the high ground, so he could perhaps take down this pylon. It looks like he'll do just that, taking a free pylon. Going to be side capping through Kiwikaki. So he's 92 over 84, producing another Colossus, trying to focus down this robotics facility before the Colossus comes out. And with that stim, it looks like he's going to be able to get it. So Kiwi pushing up here with this Colossus, going to force that medevac to load up and return. So just losing 1 unit out of that medevac, but able to take down a pylon and the robotics facility. So stopping production on those Colossus for now. Kiwi adding another gateway, will soon be on 5 gates. But again, that robotics facility going down, very important. Going to stop the production of those Colossus. And if Kawe moves in here, he could perhaps stim up and take down all these units without Colossus support. Looks like we have a drop on the left side of the base, so dropping behind the smoke. Kiwi not creating a pylon back here, so moving in, going to try to do some economic damage. If we check, it looks like he has 49 harvesters right now. Instead going for pylons, going to try to unpower all these units, using a few units there to take down that 1 pylon. So just being a harassing annoyance right now to Kiwikaki, using that medevac expertly, dropping multiple parts of the base. Looks like a probe sent out right into the firing squad. A number of force fields going down here for Kiwikaki. So using his 1 Colossus and all that stored energy, really to slice in half the army of Kawe Rice, and doing a good job. And Kawe having to retreat right now. Looks like Kawe preparing another command center and throwing down multiple racks as well as a Ghost Academy. So that Ghost Academy going to be very good, taking down the shields and the energy of those sentries and Protoss units. Kiwi still has this observer right outside the base of Kawe Rice, so he's going to be able to see all the troop movement. Good position there. And it looks like a third about to go up for Kawe. A probe trying to get across the field again, but Kawe owns all these towers, so he's going to be able to see any sort of movement. He's got this dropship still with a few units, enough to stem up and take down a pylon anytime he wants. Kiwikaki still trying to send probes out to scout for hidden expansions. And it looks like a Marine going to be here positioned to see when Kiwikaki expands to a third as well. So both players very good positioning and scouting so far. In the early game they were denied the scouting in the initial build orders, but both now doing their best to get information as Kiwi does see this third up and running. If we check the production tab, it looks like we have a Dark Shrine on the way for Kiwikaki, so going for DTs to add to this unit mix of Colossus and Sentry, Stalkers, Zealots. So it looks like he's also getting Charge about to complete, as well as ground weapons level 2. A few Dark Templar are coming on the way, a proxy pylon placed down here by Kiwikaki. So 2 DTs on the way. They do 50 damage per shot with that 1 upgrade. DTs really benefit from those attack upgrades. The supply depot is going down, almost welcoming those DTs, and the DTs want to attack at the exact same time in both mineral lines. If we check the unit counting station, he was at 59 harvesters, and now rapidly going down as those DTs are going to be one-shotting these SCVs and also preventing mining here by the Terran player. So 2 DTs right now 3 DTs on the field, going to do a lot of damage. If we check the income tab, it is 1600 to the 300. Kawe Rice having to pull off the mineral lines and try to get all of his units together, and the DT is just going to town on these supply depots and any sort of SCVs which are left back to mine. So down to 43. Check, one DT has 9 kills, another has 8 kills. So a ton of damage being done right now. Looks like a EMP going off on the 1 DT there, able to take it down. And now may get a scan or another EMP. Now a scan and this last DT going down, but a supply depot burning here. Kawe Rice has to get this repaired. So Kiwi doing a good job there, has another DT on the way and very effective against Terran players, as it looks like that missile turret providing sight now. So we will have missile turrets scattered along his mineral lines, making sure he does have detection on those DTs. And now Kiwikaki moving across the field. We check the army tab, 5600 to 5100. Kawe Rice did have the advantage in army there for just a little bit, but that lack of income, as both players keeping their resources very low, lack of income for just a moment can really prevent the macro of an army, as we see Kiwikaki pushing out close to the third. Kawe Rice trying to position himself. This third is the planetary fortress, so going to be a little more difficult to breach. Moving up here with these stalkers, they do not yet have blink. If we check on the way, another 3 gateways being added, as well as a secret base for Kiwikaki in the eastern, then 3 o'clock position. Looks like Kawe Rice attacking that 6 o'clock position with a few units, trying to do a bit of harassment as Kiwi pushes up against this planetary fortress. Those SCVs can immediately repair that planetary fortress though. If we look down in the southern portion, looks like a DT being warped in to try to defend against this pressure by Kawe Rice as Kiwikaki pulls back in the north, and not too much damage done by those Stim Marines and Marauders, and Kawe having to retreat back. It looks like Kiwikaki now pushing up into the natural, trying to get some high ground damage on these units, throwing up the army tab 6600 to 5300, and using these Colossus with that range, throwing down a number of force fields, going to really prevent the Marines and Marauders from getting down off this ramp. Going to do a ton of damage with these Colossi while these units are bottled up here on the ramp. So Kiwi doing a good job keeping all these units away from the Marines and Marauders for the time being, pushing in again with a number of units. Going to try to throw down more force fields, having to lift off a barracks there, trying to open the door for his units, and Kawe just not able to take on the Colossus right now. Kiwi doing a very good job with the extended thermal lance, taking free damage here. Kawe really has to start preventing some of this damage from being done, but more force fields going down, and then 9 range on these Colossus along with the 2 attack upgrades, just shredding these forces. So we see 4400 to the 3100. Kawe Rice trying to load up some medevacs to drop perhaps on top of these Colossus, but Kiwikaki doing a good job with the Force fields there, going to really prevent the Marauders and the Marines from getting to these units. So almost kiting the Terran units with the force fields there, and these last few Colossus going to be too much for these Marines and Marauders, I believe, as they are trying to stim up and focus down units, but Kiwi doing a very good job moving all of his low units to the back of the force there, and finally we get the GG from Kawe Rice. So game 3 going to Root Gaming here, Kiwi Kaki taking 2 in a row off of Fnatic. So very good macro game here. He was able to use those DTs to soften up his opponent's economy just a little bit, prevent the macro, rocket ahead with his own economy off of a third and a hidden fourth base. He was able to get up a number of warp gates and then push forward with those Colossus and just did such an expert job with position on that army. He threw down those force fields on the ramp, really bottled up the Terran player, and then he was able to do a lot of damage with those Colossi, and he just took down a number of barracks. He took down the Ghost Academy almost free because Kawe Rice was just bottled up behind those force fields so often, saw he had to lift up that barracks almost to let his forces out, but then very passive. He did not stem up and stream out of the opening there once he did lift off that barracks, and Kiwi Kaki just able to shred all the production structures, and finally the army of Kawe Rice. Very good play from the Protoss Root Gaming member. So this has been game 3. We will go to a game 4 as there are only 2 Fnatic members left and then 3 Root members. So Kiwi Kaki hoping to keep on a roll here and take another game off Fnatic Gaming in this clan war. I'll go ahead and bring you game 4 right now. Thanks for watching this one. I'll see you there.